This conference will now be recorded.
Just a minute, I will share my screen. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so today we'll discuss about asynchronous effects. So before asynchronous effects, we also gone through governor limits. What are the governor limits that are set by Salesforce for effects? And also we have seen how we implemented or how we consider them while coding. Right? Talking about asynchronous effects are one of the solutions for governor limits or for some other. Okay, we'll discuss in detail. That time you'll understand why we exactly use asynchronous effects. In a nutshell, asynchronous effects is used to run process in a separate thread at a later time. Okay, so when we execute an effects, when a user tries to do something, for example, when a user wants to save a account record, you know, we will order of execution will execute when a user clicks on save, right? There are about 20 steps. In one of the steps, we are invoking something else, some other. We are initiating um, something like updating a field or creating a record, etc. If that is taking too long, the in-between process is taking too long. So what can we do? We cannot make user wait, right? We cannot make user wait for the whole process to happen. They'll get irritated. And there is a time limit also. If you remember, after the time limit, the session the session will throw an error. Session time dot something, right? So user will get disturbed, distracted, or his data will not be saved. Either ways. So what is the solution? The solution is making the process asynchronous. Okay, So asynchronous apex is used to run process in a separate thread. That means we will be taking the process outside the thread, outside the transaction, and execute it separately. So whatever the user is doing, he will not get stopped or he will not get disturbed, right? So that will execute separately, and user will save the record or whatever with the user it will happen. We will see an example. An asynchronous process is a process or function that executes a task in the background without the user having to wait for the task to finish. The user doesn't need to wait. So user efficiency will improve. Scalability. What is scalability? See, I want to insert accounts. As you remember, we can do DML only 150 times in a single transaction, right? I want to update all the records in my database at a time. I can't do that. I can maximum update 150 records, right? So using asynchronous Apex, we can do that. There is something called batch Apex, which is very similar to cron jobs. So scalability, we can increase our scope, our scale, and higher limits. So we have higher limits than the regular synchronous process. Okay, so asynchronous process is something which executes separately, which improves user efficiency, which has scalability, and which has higher limits, right? So in asynchronous effects, there are four, not three, there are four, I can say four options. Future method, batch apex, queuable apex, schedule apex. Future method is a method. So we can create a method and name it as future. It will run separately from the transaction. Okay, run in the other thread. Do not start until resources are available. So common scenarios, web service callout. Okay, I'll tell you. So I thought to discuss about this web service example. I'll tell you. So why we use future method? Most of the time, what will happen if we have to update something within the Salesforce? It won't take much time. But sometimes we have to send some data to the external system. For example, we purchased a product from Amazon. Whenever we purchase a product, we make payment, right? So to make the payment, we will be navigated to a bank website. So that will happen in the synchronous process, not in the asynchronous process. But sometimes you want to review, you want to give a review, and that should be sent to a vendor's website or vendor's portal from the Amazon. That happens. We don't know it. It happens in the background. So when we purchase a product and give the complaint or the review, that will be sent to an external website, some other website. The user doesn't need to know that, right? User doesn't need to wait for it. The request will be sent to some other website, and user will not even know that it's going outside, or he will not get any confirmation, right? So that time, why should a user know it, or why should this happens in a user context? So that can be take out from the transaction into a separate thread or separate transaction. That time you can use this user method. We'll see a small example how it happens and all. You can't see how it happens, but how to write a future method, we'll see an example. Okay, batch apex. Batch apex is similar to cron job. Run large jobs that would exceed normal processing limits. So, for example, I want to update all the records in the database to change an address or to update an email address. So that time I cannot do with normal Apex, normal transaction, because there are governor limits, right? So maximum records I can process in a single transaction are 10,000, right? Using DML, I can process maximum of 10,000 records. But if I have 1 lakh records, how can I update them? So we can use batch Apex. We will see how to do that. Then Kubel Apex. Kubel Apex is used to queue. It is similar to future method, but provide additional job changing and allows more complex data types to be used. So, okay, I'll put it this way. Queuable Apex is a class where it is used to queue an Apex, queue a class. It will put something in a queue and schedule Apex. Okay, queue means asynchronous queue. Okay, it will put in a asynchronous queue. So, and schedule Apex. Schedule Apex is a schedulable Apex. So it will schedule. So every day, if you want to execute a class at 9 a.m. in the morning or 6 p.m. in the evening, something like that. So if you remember, we have tasks. So if you want to run the task every day, or if you want to send an email every day, update a report every day, so all those can be scheduled using schedule Apex. So if you remember, we seen schedules in workflows and process. Yeah, in the background, those schedule use the schedule Apex. Okay, so these four are asynchronous options in Apex. So first we'll discuss about future method. Future methods. A future method runs in the background asynchronously. You can call a future method for executing a long running operation such as callouts to external web services or any operation you'd like to run in its own thread on its own time, right? So without users, without making user wait, we can send some request to a future method which will execute in a separate thread, in its own thread, right? Each feature method is queued and executes when system results become available. So future method will not rush. It won't execute immediately. It will be queued and it will be executed only once the results are available. For example, a batch is running. At the same time, a future method is queued. Future method executes only batch is done. A benefit of using future method is that some governor limits are higher, such as SOQL limits and heap size limits. If you remember, if you remember, okay. So when I type governor limits in Salesforce, I have seen some website Apex governor limits, some tutorials, points. Some don't refer. Always try to go to developer.salesforce.com. Why? If there is something wrong listed here, you will learn it. So Salesforce documentation will never lie, right? So I don't say others will lie or others will put the wrong content, but they may put the old content, which is not updated. So for example, if I maintain a blog, why I'll update every day? If there is some change in something, why I'll update? I will not have time. If someone asks me, you have wrong content, I'll just tell them, no, it's not wrong content, it's old content. Always refer to the new content. It's not my mistake. I'll just tell that, right? So always try to refer Salesforce developer.salesforce.com or help.salesforce.com. Help.salesforce.com is for admin. Developer.salesforce.com is for developers. So you can refer to the blogs or websites when you have capability to judge which is new content, which is old content. Until then, always keep an eye on this developer.salesforce.com or always try to compare. Okay. So if you remember, we have discussed this synchronous limits, all the left, all the right are asynchronous limits. The asynchronous limits only few. You can see SOQL socket queries are 200 can be 200 queries can be run in a asynchronous apex, right? So 200 SOQL queries can be issued in a asynchronous process. At the same time, CPU time is also increased to 60,000 milliseconds, whereas synchronous 10,000 milliseconds. Only two useful, and see heap size is also increased to 12 MB. These are decreased. Maximum number of Apex jobs added to the queue with system.queueJob are decreased to 1, and batch future context 0, 1 queuable context. Okay. Maximum number of methods with the future annotation allowed. So these are not actually like degrees, but these are the limits. Okay. So higher limits means this. So each field, okay. A benefit of using feature method is some governor limits are higher, such as SQL query limits and heap size. Methods with the future annotation must be static method and can only be written void type. Just a minute. So, okay, we have to discuss about annotations. We'll discuss at the end, but I'll give a brief idea. Okay. So we will annotate the method with at the rate of future. First thing. Second thing, the method which is annotated with future should be a static method and it should return void. Okay. Consider using batch apex instead of future method to process large number of records. If you want to process very large number of records, then instead of future, we should always try to use batch. Okay. I'll show you the syntax. So this is the syntax of future method. At the rate of future, public static void method name, and do some operations. It's just like a normal apex. We'll try. future applies. Example, at the rate of future public static void. This is mandatory. Okay. So every future method should be a static method and it should return void. My first future method. I didn't like this name. Uh, let's say future method. So this is the syntax of a future method. Okay. We can have up to 50 feature methods in a single class. Not 50, we can have any number, but we can execute maximum 50 feature methods in a single transaction. Okay, we can have any number of feature methods. So it can also take arguments. Let's say ID, account, account ID, let's say account ID. Okay, I'll pick up one of the best example. I think I should have it. Let me just look. I'm searching in another screen. Okay. I'm searching, still searching. So in that example, what we do is we update contacts, number of contacts in an account. This is also example. Okay, so I didn't get it. So definitely I'll search and because I don't want to waste time writing the code. But Okay, so we get the account ID. Okay, let us write. So how to get the contacts? How to get the number of contacts? So first we'll write a query. The approach is, if you want to query something and get some details, always go to query editor, select. There are something called aggregate queries. Count, min and max, right? So count some min max. Let's say count from contact. It will give me the number of contacts in my R. So total number of contacts are 224. Okay, from contact, let's say where account ID is equal to, we'll pick up an account, we'll pick up an account with number of contacts, with contacts. So let's see any of the sample accounts. So it has only one contact. I think its communication should have two contacts. Yeah, it has two contacts. Let us pick this. So in this 224, we should get two. We got two. You can see here total rows returned with this query are two, right? So select count from contact where account ID is equal to so and so. We'll give the number of contacts. Okay. So in the account, we'll create a field number of contacts. Do we have the field? No, I think we didn't create. Oh, this is number of locations. Okay. So let me edit the object. Fields and relationships. Create a new field. We'll take number. Number of contacts. Okay, let's keep maximum. Next. Next. Save. Okay. So let's go to the code. We'll use this query. We got account ID. It's integer. Number of contacts is equal to, we'll run this code. So query should be in square brackets, right? And we'll break this. And instead of hard coding the account ID, what we do is we compare it with the variable. So to compare with the variable, we should give is equal to colon and the variable. Okay, now I'll get number of contacts. So what I'll do then, so then I should also get the account details, right? Okay, we'll slightly modify this code. Sorry, query. Instead of getting count from the contact, I'll make it reverse. Select ID, comma, a subquery, if you remember contacts, again I'll paste this here from account where account ID is equal to, so it's not account ID, right? Where ID is equal to, so let's execute this. Okay, see, I try to get the count from the subquery, which is not allowed, right? Count can be used only in root query. So I'll keep this. I will get the ID to update the record and get the record. So account ACC is equal to, I'll write this query, ID from account where ID is equal to, I'll copy paste this. So along with the ID, I'll also get this number of contacts from account where account ID is equal to so, right? So we should bulkify this actually. We should put in a for loop. So it's always, see, this will return only one record. So it can be stored in a single variable. But if you are referring to single variable, always use limit. If you want to get single record, always try to use limit 1. It's just a good practice. This will account ID, with account ID will get only one record. So because account ID is unique, only one record will be there with one account ID. But still, it's always good practice to have it in having limit 1. Okay. So then ACC dot number of contacts is equal to this number of contacts. Then update ACC. Update ACC. Okay. So what am I doing? I'm just checking the number of contacts for an account, then getting the account details, adding or assigning that value number of contacts to number of contacts field, and ACC dot number of contacts is equal to number of contacts, and updating ACC, right? So this will execute in future. So I'll add this in a trigger. So do we have trigger an account? So we have trigger on account, right? So here we are updating the account ID in the contact, right? So in the end, what I'll do, I'll just invoke this future dot. So what I should do, I should run it in a for loop. Why I'll show it. Okay. Future method, and I need to pass ID, right? So to pass the ID, I can include it somewhere like this, but I'll write one more method. So I'll put this in. Remember, future method kind of thing should be put in after context. And I want it to run in after update because a new account will not have context, right? If trigger dot is update and trigger dot is after, then I'll write for account ACC REC trigger dot, let's say trigger dot new. Then I'll invoke this feature. I'll pass ACC REC dot ID. Save. So now let us, so let's see. We have two contacts. So let me edit this account. Let's add something and click save. This number of contacts. Okay. It's here. It's not updated immediately, right? After a few minutes, it may not be updated now, but after a few minutes, this will get updated. Number of contacts. So now let us run the query and see. Okay. It's not yet updated. Either this is not executed. This should execute. So it's in the queue. So this will get updated. Just give me a minute. Yeah, sorry, got a call. So this is how we wait a minute. This is an account. This after update is also there. So this should execute. This update is up. Let us check once again now. I don't think it got executed. So I'll re-verify, I'll recheck and I'll see whether the trigger is not activated or something else. Okay then, I think I'm done for the day. So there is some other feature method for callouts. Callout is equal to true when we will discuss about this when we talk about callouts. Callouts means integrations. Tomorrow we'll discuss about batch effects. Okay, now any questions? Neenal, any questions?
No, Baba.
Okay. Navi, any questions?
No, Baba.
Okay. Santi, any questions?
No, Bala.
Okay. Nisha, any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Sure. Okay then. Bye for now. See you tomorrow. We'll discuss.